Next is the administrative agenda, a lien reduction request for 80 Avenue E.
Mr. Mayor, before we proceed, I need to recuse myself from this, from the administrative agenda A.
Okay. And you'll fill the form section, what is it, 8 or Form 8, is that what it is?
She's got it.
Okay.
I will do so right now.
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Town Council members, Steve Remuni on behalf of White Sand Properties of Fort Myers Beach. We had previously filed a motion to either ask for forgiveness of the current liens that are in question. The property is known as 80 Avenue E, Fort Myers Beach, or any alternative to reduce the current fines to $15,000. The motion was verified, kind of speaks for itself, but essentially just to recap, back in December of 2019, my client, in negotiations with the then town manager, Mr. Harstad, I believe, had entered into an agreement with regards to White Sands, part of it, for anticipated purchases. Specifically, there was 1560I and then subsequently 80 Avenue E with regards to the liens that were in place as to 80 Avenue E. I think it's important to note that White Sand was not the violator of these liens. It was simply trying to purchase the properties free and clear from the liens. Pursuant to the agreement with Mr. Harstad, my client was told that it could settle for the sum of $50,000. And in fact, he did pay the $50,000 the very next day, and that check was cashed by the city in December of 2019. The violator, Mr. Orlandini, was apparently given a $15,000 payment with regards to the full release of the liens. Unfortunately, he didn't fulfill his part of the agreement, so we're before you asking for that to be taken into consideration in the request for forgiveness, or in the alternative, my client, I know I probably shouldn't say it like this, but we're just trying to get these items resolved. My client's willing to pay that $15,000 that Mr. Orlandini did not pay pursuant to his part of the agreement with the town manager. That's pretty simply what it is. There are 3 liens in question, two whoppers and one smaller one. But in good faith, my client, unfortunately, I was not part of the process. I did not represent him at the time. Otherwise, I would have, probably done a little bit better with regards to the paper trail. But unfortunately, it is what it is. So he essentially paid Fort Myers Beach $50,000 in December of 2019, and that copy of that check is attached as, I believe, Exhibit B to my motion. So we're here before you asking for forgiveness, or in the alternative, with a way to get this resolved. There's currently foreclosure that was initiated apparently by the predecessor town attorney. We've had tried in the past to resolve it. We weren't able to resolve it. More recently had come up before the magistrate to reaffirm the debt and to get authority to file the foreclosure. But my discussions with counsel for the town with regards to the foreclosure was, why don't we just see if we can get this thing settled with the city and avoid undue delay, expense, and more fees for both ends for a foreclosure case that we hopefully can get resolved today. Thank you.
Steve, is there any, you say there's an agreement?
Yes, sir.
Is there any paper trail for this agreement that was done between Roger and Joe and the applicant?
The only paper trail is the copy of the check itself, which we attached for $50,000. It's paid from Schmidt's machinery company, but that is Mr. Schmidt who is present. He also is the owner of White Sand Properties of Fort Myers Beach. Unfortunately, that's the best paper trail that I can proffer to you at this point in time. He did his part. Unfortunately, the other side didn't do their part, but we essentially are at your mercy with regards to trying to get this thing resolved so we can move on.
And in the check, it's referring an address that is not the address that's here. Why is that?
There were 2 properties that Mr. Orlandini owned, or through his entities owned, that being 1560 I Street and the other one is the subject property, 80 Avenue E. So the intent was, from our part, can't speak to the initial violator, but the intent was from our part to clear those liens, because the way the code works, it tracks through, and like you just heard, the lien on the property tracks on the property and not necessarily to the individual himself or that entity. So.
This has really been going on a long time.
Yes, yes. Like I said, we've tried to resolve it previously through the predecessor law firm, but we hit the wall. I was not the attorney primarily involved in that case, so I really couldn't speak to. But I was aware from the co-counsel that we really couldn't get anywhere with trying to get a settlement with the city. So yeah, it's been dragging on for some time. What brings it to a head now is that the magistrate, I think in February, this was brought before the magistrate to approve the liens and approve the foreclosure, which kind of opened the door, so to speak, because the first foreclosure was not, I'll say in my opinion, I don't want to speak for opposing counsel, my opinion was not brought properly, because how I read the ordinance, it has to be approved by the magistrate. The lien has to be ratified before foreclosure can start. But that was another firm, another day that did that. So when in February, the magistrate reheard these liens, so to speak, that's when I got involved and was like, why can't we just get this thing settled, in the hopes of getting this foreclosure case done completely as well. So.
Yeah, but the special magistrate rejected it because of the partial release and the different address.
The special magistrate did not accept the proposition, so to speak, that was for settlement, no more, no less. There is pending foreclosure. That's an affirmative defense and foreclosure. But we're not looking to go down that road. We just simply want to either get the liens forgiven, as my client was not the violating party, or get it mitigated to the point where something can get resolved and we can just get this paid and be done.